Okay, so let's see. So they had never been around Little Dog before, and so they were rough with Little Dog. After that, I got a ticket for potentially dangerous. They told me that it was no big deal. Um, I took my dogs to training and asked the trainer if this was a prelude to aggressive behavior because I was a little concerned. The trainer told me no. She told me that for most big dogs, unless they're raised with little dogs, they will see little dog as like a toy. She said it wasn't a prelude to aggressive behavior, and I had a vet that said the same thing. Um, so the day before the incident, I went to court. Um, Judge didn't read any, or no, she looked at the photos of my yard. Um, she looked at a conversation I had with a contractor because the biggest issue I had was my dogs kept getting out of the fence. I tried to show her that my dogs never had any issues like this before or since. She didn't listen. She didn't listen to anything I had from the trainer. Um, Animal control tried to stack on top of an issue with an incident with a cat. Um, Basically, we found the cat dead on the road. We'd known the cat since it was little because we fed it. We knew it was a stray. Someone hit the cat. Um, by this time, or technically that very night, I found out that Mr. Ball had come up to Billings. I don't know if it was before or after CPS found him and let him know he had a kid. But essentially, one of my friends works with my roommate, and she asked if she could bring her boyfriend over, and I said fine. Well, her boyfriend turned out to be Mr. Ball, and he asked for my help. Apparently, he had a lawyer that said that was going to help him get his charge reversed. If we can reverse his charge, then it'll reverse what CPS thought of me. Because basically, their issue with me is that I'm considered a non protective parent. I do see where I've made mistakes, but everything I did was honestly an attempt to protect my children. Did I fail? Yes. But I've been trying. Now, about with the dogs, so it became obvious that once they brought up about how the cat was eaten, they tried to say that my dogs killed the cat when that wasn't the case. I had Mr. Ball that night bury the cat. He buried it in a plastic bag. And honestly, this was just bad common sense on my part. I thought, they would leave the cat alone, especially since it's in a plastic bag, so that should stop the smell. I thought we buried it deep enough. Apparently, we didn't. The dogs dug it up and ate half of it. Animal control came out to let us know that the cat was unburied. Let us rebury it, which we did. We tried putting something heavy on top of it, but that didn't stop the dogs. So eventually, animal control took it. Well, animal control tried to convince the judge that it was two separate, identical-looking cats in a span of 2 days. After that, the judge just wasn't listening. She was making jokes, and honestly, I just didn't like the professionalism, so I filed for an appeal. I wish I hadn't. I wish I had just listened, but I thought I knew my dogs. My daughters had played with the dogs since they were puppies. Never had any issues. Like I said, my dogs went with me to work. Had no issues. I went off what the trainer said, and the reason I did the appeal was because I thought I knew my dogs. If I can go back, I honestly just wouldn't have bothered with it. But honestly, I just wanted my family to stay the same. I didn't want to upset anything. We'd finally reached a good equilibrium. The one time I leave, and it wasn't even the first time like I'd left. I shouldn't say that, but one time that my daughter's not around my dogs when I'm there, and this happens, and we never saw that. They were always best buds, so we have no idea how this could have happened. Anyway, I told all that to the social worker. I didn't want to leave anything out. And I thought, and I remember I told her because her response just blew me away because it was understanding. She said, I told her how I was feeling like an idiot for defending them, and she's like, I know, we all think we know our dogs. Lindsay, my social worker, was shocked because she mentioned to her how she'd seen my girls play with the dogs, never had any concerns. You know, she told me that it is unfortunate. They're not happy with the lack of supervision, but she said that it's obvious that this an accident and these things happen. So I thought, okay, that's one issue not to deal with. Now I just have to make sure my daughter's okay. The next day, she completely flipped the script. She came to the hospital to check in, asked to talk to me privately. Then she told me that I only told her half the story. I said, no, I told you everything I knew. Apparently, she asked why my brother didn't call 911. I told her, well, from what he told me and the call log, he called me first, was trying to calm her down. By the time he was calling 911, police were already there. She asked why I didn't tell her the lock on the back door was faulty. I'm like, it's not faulty. It works just fine. I even asked her to drive me home so I could show her. She claimed I didn't tell her about court. I'm like, no, I did. And I even reiterated what she said verbatim. And she said she had no recollection of that. And I wish I had it on recording. You know, I told her everything, and she said, that she was also concerned about how apparently I got my daughter's birth date and spelling of her name wrong. And I was trying to explain to her, look, at that time, that was not a good time to ask me anything because I'm trying to calm her down. I'm freaking out. You know, I'm trying to get a hold of the social worker, and I honestly wasn't paying attention. And that wasn't a good enough excuse, and it was an excuse, but honestly was the best reason I had was that I was just not thinking clearly. You know, I was just trying to make sure she was okay. And let's see, so she claimed, you know, and she is right, you know, if I had just gotten rid of the dogs, this would never have happened. You know, and that's what she said. I was that if I had listened to the experts, this all could have been avoided. But again, I thought I was listening to the experts. You know, I had my dogs were only a year, so I had months of them playing with my kids with no issues. I had what the trainer said. I had the vet lady commenting about how well behaved they were. I had, you know, never had an issue at work when I brought them. You know, this. I thought I knew them. I obviously we're the experts. You know, no. And not a day goes by where I don't already feel like crap every day. So she told me that they're going to terminate. They're not offering visits, and that was it. You know, she found out that I was talking with Mr. Ball. I explained that it was purely business. He was never inside my house. He never got past the backyard, and the only time he was in the backyard was to bury the damn cat. I explained that I never had him around my children because even though I'm trying to help him, I still don't want him around my child. Honestly, I'm just helping him for a selfish reason. I'm helping him to hopefully try to undo my own past, if that makes any sense to anybody. But he was never around my children, but she didn't want to listen. Now, according to an inside source, I'm hearing that they're spreading rumors claiming that they've seen me with Mr. Ball before, and I'm going, no. And even if you did see me, it would be, you know, in a public setting, not at home. So I have a feeling that my social worker is trying to spread rumors. But yeah, so basically I need someone to help me because I'm in deep shit here. I did learn my lesson. I'm cautious. I mean, I've done everything they've asked. I've passed parenting classes, group, medication, psych evals. You know, I've even stayed single this time just to avoid any more issues. And it just feels like every time I get close, something happens. And I'm scared. And I can't lose my daughters. So I am asking for someone to help me, please. There has to be someone that's a shark. I'm broke, but I'm honest when it comes to payments. I don't care if I'm paying someone till the end of my time. I'll do it. I just need someone who's going to fight me because I want my family back together. And since then, I've contacted ombudsman. I've contacted lawyers. I had my dogs put down, not the next day, but the day after, because I was spending that time in the hospital with my daughter, but I had them put down. I got a chain lock on the door, so that way if by some miracle I get out of this, this will never happen again. I'm not trying to justify my dogs. I should have just gotten rid of them. I shouldn't have done the appeal. But I honestly, everyone saw this as a shock, because except for the tiny dog incident, they never had any issues since then, and they played with them. They were best pals. I don't know what happened. I know I screwed up, but I don't think this screw up was negligent enough to cost me my daughters. You know, I've had bad experiences with men. I made bad choices. I tried to do better. I avoid people. I run background checks on everybody I meet. I get them vetted out by CPS. I've had every one of my roommates, plus their significant others, checked out by CPS. And that's not even if they're moving in, that's just visiting. I passed the safety course. I passed parenting classes. I'm still in therapy. I've stayed on my meds. I've kept the house clean the best I can with my work schedule. I've never been out without a job for longer than 2 weeks. I've stayed in the same house now for 3 years to prove that I'm stable. I've done everything they've asked. So please, will someone help me? I have been dealing with this for 4 years, and we still don't know. And this all started with a bruise. We never found out what happened with the bruise. And because of that, even though we never found out anything, they still labeled me a non-protective parent. This became a continuation of my case in California, which was closed. I learned my lessons. I did better, and they closed it. We came up here for a fresh start, and honestly, it's just been a nightmare. Please, someone help me.